spiritual health had in rehabilitation outcomes. And after 5 years, Gloria felt compelled to continue her studies, and she's presently certified in natural health, massage, reflexology, healing touch, insulin resistance, and is an NES and EBOX practitioner. She focuses on functional health, including educating others on how the body functions and how to support the body in doing its job, helping us to survive and thrive. So let's get this going. We are going to start, and I just cannot wait to share this information with you. So again, the company is called LifeVantage. And again, I've been a part of this for 13 years. And our company started because of an ABC investigative report. And what we call ourselves at LifeVantage is we are an activation company. So what does that mean? We all know the word supplementing or supplementation, and supplementation is basically when you are adding nutrients to the body. You're filling in deficiencies. But when we talk about activation, we're basically flipping switches in the body. We're telling it to do something that is already built to do. So that's what we mean by activation. And we're going to share some of our top activators tonight. It's going to be a little bit of a dance between Gloria and I. I will give you some of the products we're going to talk about, a little bit of the foundation, how they work. And then Gloria is going to intertwine and tell you about, she's going to talk about metabolism, and she's going to talk about how these products can enhance and how you can incorporate them into your body to help with your metabolism and more importantly, your metabolic health. Now, this is a pipeline of our products. We have anything from daily essentials to pet products. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to move over the people here. Okay. So we've got a wide array of activators. And like I said, tonight we're going to just focus on we're just going to focus on a few of them. Okay. And then the rest that you see here, just get back to the person that introduced you. We've got anything from multi-nutrients to eye health, to gut health, to skin care, hair care, something for your pets, something to drink that helps with your brain. We cover the gamut of it, but just know tonight we're going to give you what we consider to be a great foundation and a great starting point for you. And we've even got a deal for you that we can share with you at the end. So our company, LifeVantage, we are a company that started because of an ABC investigative report. That ABC report was done back in 2005. And after the ABC report aired, they said, for more information, go to abcnews.com. And they talked about our flagship product called Protandim Nerve 2, which I'm going to introduce to you next. But that story basically got the attention on us because of our flagship product. And that product started in the retail sector, but no one really knew what it was doing sitting on a store shelf. So they took it off the retail market and they put it into the hands of people like myself or the person that introduced you to this information. From there, today, we became LifeVantage in 2011, and in 2009, we became LifeVantage, and today we are debt-free. We are publicly traded on the NASDAQ. We are continuing to get so much recognition for our technology, for our activators, and the way that we enhance health in a way that no one else is doing today. So this is a little glimpse at that ABC investigative report. They went in to debunk the findings of a researcher and scientist that said he discovered an enzyme that will turn on, activate antioxidant enzymes in our body. And they wanted to debunk that. And they found, they did a blood test on John Quinones, which you see in this picture. And after 2 weeks, his oxidative stress levels were that of an infant child. Now, when this was introduced to me, I had no clue what oxidative stress was. I know the word stress. No one likes that. I know that's not good for anybody. Oxidative stress, it's like if you cut open an apple and it starts to brown. That is what is happening to the cells of our body as we age. And this researcher and scientist basically discovered that rather than consuming antioxidants all the time, which we consume and then go out of our body, he wanted to find something because he knew we had enzymes. He discovered enzymes that create antioxidants. But because of the aging process, our body's ability to activate them goes down. So he wanted to put together the right synergy of plants that as we aged, our body could still activate and decrease that oxidative stress and turn on those antioxidant enzymes. And here's what happens when you take this activator, Protandim Nrf2. NRF2, that's the pathway that turns on the antioxidant enzymes. And look what they found, okay? You can see oxidative stress with age goes up. Without Protandim Nrf2, you can see that it goes up. With Protandim Nrf2, look how it stays steady. We are the only plant-based product in the world that can say we are proven to reduce oxidative stress in the body by an average of 40% in just 30 days. This is a big deal because oxidative stress leads to a lot of dysfunction in the body. And after the ABC report aired, we got attention from doctors and researchers all over the world that said, if your product does what you say it's going to do, we want to study it with other disease states. And one such study that came from that is a study that studied that pathway, that antioxidant Nrf2 pathway. And they say that that pathway may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. Read that again. That's a big deal. And you get to hear about that. And we get to share that with you. That always just blows my mind. Extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. This was not done by our company. This was done by Washington State. This is how big that pathway in your body is. And we had the only product in the world, I'm going to say it again, that is proven to turn it on, to activate the pathway. And the studies kept coming. If you go to a site called pubmed.gov, it's where doctors and researchers go for their information, you'll find all the studies we have on our flagship product, Protandim Nrf2, a blend of 5 herbs put together intentionally and synergistically. When you take Protandim Nrf2, you make your body's own antioxidants, reducing oxidative stress. It's backed by 30 peer-reviewed studies, 7 US patents, nothing compares to it. Now, we took Protandim Nrf2, we took Protandim, the name, and we branded it into 3 different products. What we're doing is we're activating, again, flipping the switch on 3 different pathways in the body. These pathways, every health podcast today is talking about it. You're going to hear about it on Instagram. You're going to hear it on podcasts. You're going to see it everywhere. We're talking about oxidative stress. We're talking about mitochondrial health, the energy of the cell, and we're talking about NAD. Gloria is going to tell you what these mean to the body. But the beautiful thing about what we give people and what we present is when we come out with new products, we always want to say, if we layer this with our flagship product, Protandim Nrf2, that started our company, what happens when we put them together? And we found that when we put all 3 Protandims together, we call this our trisynergizer. And your body is amplifying, making its own antioxidants, its own mitochondria, its own NAD, its own sirtuin activity. Gloria will tell you about that. But look at this. This is what happens. This is synergy of activators working together. When you take the trisynergizer in tandem, these are the genes that are upregulated in your body. So now, Gloria, will you start by just telling us what is metabolism, and then talk to us about the trisynergizer and how that plays a role with it, please.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Tanya. First of all, I want to tell you why I've been in business I just started my 20th year as owning a Healthy Glow. And I used to do lots of supplementation. So I do a form of kinesiology. I also have a computer test. I can test for imbalances within the body. And I used to do a lot of supplementation because that's what I knew. That's the schooling that I knew until someone introduced me to the Protandim, and particularly the Protandim NRF2. And what was amazing to me was after I started incorporating the Protandim into people, like when I was coaching them and they were taking that every day, their supplement need decreased by 50 to 90%. Because when a cell is dirty, I always call it a dirty cell, right? Because that's what the protandim NRF2 goes in to help to clean that cell out. When a cell is dirty, it can't function correctly. So an unhealthy cell needs more vitamin B. An unhealthy cell needs more iron supplementation. An unhealthy cell needs more of it. It's like an engine in a car that you don't get the oil change in it, or the engine isn't running right. It needs more gasoline. So the same thing happens like within the cells of our body. And so, of course, then that led me on lots of other ventures in regards to education. But what really is metabolism? Most people really think of metabolism only as weight loss. My metabolism is fast, my metabolism is slow, and they just relate it to if they can lose weight or not. But the reality is if you look at the true definition of metabolism, metabolism really is within the body bodily processes. So there's a whole bunch of little tiny chemical reactions that have to work within the body to help the body to detoxify things that don't belong in the body. All the environmental toxins that are coming in. We have a lot of smoke now in Minnesota because of the smoke in Canada that's coming down. Pesticides and herbicides, all those kinds of things that are coming in, anywhere from our air, in our food, and in our water. Okay, and many times we always think impurities that are coming in through our lungs or something, but the reality was all of our skin absorbs anything that is in our air. So smoke can absorb like through your skin. Okay, it doesn't just have to get into your lung tissue. But really, metabolism is that body's ability to keep the cell clean. And also the next thing is to keep the cell energized. And that is that our bodies have the ability to make ATP from inside the cell. And that's every single cell of the body. So if a muscle cell lacks in enough energy, it can't grow and build when you work out. Okay, if a bone cell, it'll deteriorate away. A skin cell, a brain cell, whatever it is, each and every cell of our body needs to have the capability to convert the nutrients that we eat into usable energy for that cell so that the cell can do what it needs to do. And then the third thing that has to happen within a cell is huge communication. We all know communication in relationships, communication in offices, communications in businesses. If communication isn't happening, it's going to fail, right? And so NAD, when we can activate the sirtuins within our body, the sirtuins are the communicators of many things, like what's happening in the cell, what's going on within it. And it also helps the cell to understand this part of the cell is damaged. We need to get that part of the cell out and repair and replace that cell. So generally what I like to look at the NAD pathway is really that communication and also that repairing and replacing with those cells. And what's so interesting with all of this is that every single cell of our body needs all of those things. It doesn't isolate just to a liver or just to a heart or just to a lung cell or just to a skin cell or a muscle cell or a bone cell. Every single cell of our body needs that. So many times I need to do a lot of education with people, but when they come in and they're like, I keep getting sick, it's like, well, you have a metabolic issue. I can't heal from this. You have a metabolic issue, right? I'm working out and I'm not gaining any muscle tone. Well, you have a metabolic issue. So again, metabolism is not just about weight loss. Metabolism is the body functioning. And in order to keep our body functioning, we need to keep every single of the billions and billions and billions of cells that we have within our body to be able to do that, okay? So when we are taking the protandim NRF2, that is the one that's proven to go in, of course, within the body and increase lots of antioxidants. And really the purpose of that generally, it has other little details, but generally when you think about protandim NRF2, think about this is protecting my body against all environmental toxins. All environmental toxins that are coming into the body, in our air, in our food, and in our water. So when people ask me like, well, what do you think? Do we have to take this forever? I'm like, you can take whatever you want for your body. That decision is theirs. But we cannot protect ourselves from all of the environmental toxins that are coming in. We just cannot, protect ourselves from all of that. And so protandim NRF2, I believe, is a must for every single person in the world, because we can't control that, right? We can't control what's in our air and in our food and in our water, unless we're going to live in a bubble. We can't live in a bubble, okay? And anyway, so that's what I love about the protandim NRF2. And remember, this was the product that was the only product I was using initially, and that is what decreased people's supplementation need by 50 to 90%. It was just like amazing to me, thinking like, so I don't have to give the person or recommend supplement if we just keep the cell clean. We have to keep the cell clean. It can function better with less fuel. That's all supplements do, is overpower the body with fuel. Okay, so everybody needs to keep on this one forever. Okay, then we have our protandim NRF1, and the protandim NRF1 is the one that goes in and helps the mitochondria. And so again, within every single cell of the body, our mitochondria are the things that are responsible for converting food and nutrition into usable energy for the cell. It's that where the engine needs to combust. You have gasoline going in, and then there's a spark. Well, the mitochondria really is that spark inside the engine in order for it to do it. So people come to me and they just are like, I have no energy. I feel like I have no energy from the inside out, especially people who exercise and they're fatigued after exercise. We should actually have energy after we exercise because we're doing a lot of circulation. We're getting more oxygen into the body, many things. So we should be drained if our mitochondria is working. And so the mitochondria, again, every single cell of the body needs to have the energy to do what the cell needs to do. And some of the work of the cell, of course, is to repair, right? Replace, but really that a muscle cell can carry you around. Your bone cells have to carry you around. The brain cells have to be able to think. So every cell of the body needs to have that energy from within it. And it has to convert the nutrition that we eat, the nutrition that we take in, into usable energy for the cell, and that is called ATP. I'm a big digestive person as well. So another thing, I always take a little step backwards and make sure that the person's digestive system is working and the food choices that they're making, because then that we have to still supply it with the correct nutrients so the mitochondria can do the work that it needs to do. And then, of course, then we have the NAD. Now, remember, it does a lot of things in the cell of the body, but I'm just kind of looking at it more like how I really look at it. And the NAD plus actually activates the sirtuins inside the cell of the body, and that's that real key to communication. We have to know what's going on within the cell, or the body doesn't even know, is this cell, should I slough it off and repair and replace it with a new cell? Or what's happening inside the cell? Or is a part of that cell damaged and it needs to be repaired? Or is a part of that, the whole cell damaged, and it just needs to be replaced with a new cell? So what was amazing to me, I did have a client one time who was coming in and she was actually getting NAD infusions. So she was going to a functional medicine doctor and getting NAD infusions. And so she would get a blood test done to find out how much NAD that they needed to give her in her IV. Well, a month after she started on our NAD as a supplement, when she went in, she only needed 50% of what she was testing for all of the other months before. So that's why I'm confident. I saw it right there. I'm very confident that that NAD is going in and really doing the work that it needs to do. I really, really recommend the NAD for people that are trying to heal from something. So when there's athletes out there, you sprain an ankle, you break a bone, you have a cut, you have whatever it might be, we really, really need to ramp up the communication inside that cell so that cell knows I need to get rid of this damaged one. Because if you can understand how the bones work, there's osteoblasts and there's osteoclasts, okay? Some of them pull the old dead bone away and the other one puts new bone in place. That happens everywhere in our body. The quicker our body knows to clear out the old damaged bone, the sooner the body will lay down a new bone. It's not going to lay down a new one until you get the old one out. And that slows down as we age. That's why children heal faster than we do, because all of these processes within their bodies are happening faster. So this tri-synergizer, I'm just amazed because it's the key to helping every single cell in the body. It doesn't just say fix the livers, fix the brain. It helps every cell of the body, and wherever the body needs it, this Tri-Synergizer is going to go to work.
It helps hot flashes too. Can I get an amen? Yes.
Amen.
Amen. All right, Gloria, we're going to go right into our collagen. I know you're passionate about this as well. And everyone, as you can see, we show it layered again with our flagship product, Protandim Nerve 2. The two of them together is called our Healthy Glow Stack. And our liquid collagen replenishes, and maintains your body's own natural collagen. So, Gloria, talk to us about collagen and why this is so important for the body and our metabolic health.
So how collagen affects our metabolism is that every place in our body, our skin is our largest organ within our body. And when you look at cells, go look at the cell on wherever, Google it or something, go look at the cell. The outer wall of that cell is made of skin tissue. And so our collagen is the thing that holds all of the little tiny cells together. And so when we can keep cell walls healthier, then our body, when we can keep that healthy, we don't have kind of like holes in the cell and in the cell wall. And we also don't have a lot of callus buildup around the cell wall, because a damaged cell, like even a cell that has a lot of oxidative stress, because the cell wall becomes hardened. And so what that really affects then is that those sodium potassium pumps, those are pumps that lie along the surface of the skin tissue on every cell of the body. So when we don't have healthy skin tissue, we don't have nutrients effectively getting in, and equally important, we don't have waste products have the ability to get out of the cell. And so on a cellular level, that is why keeping this intact is so important. Okay. The other thing that I find with this one that's different than other collagens, because I was recommending collagen and some other types of collagen, but the most amazing thing to this is that it contains 10 different types of collagen. Now, we have 28 different types of collagen within our body. So the collagen that is in the cells of the muscle is different than the collagen that's in the cells of the tendons, and different than the collagen that's in the filters within the liver, and different than in the kidneys and all the nephrils in the kidneys and helping it to manage a mineral balance and things like that. It's different than the collagen that surrounds every nerve tissue. And so we want to be able to supply the body with the collagen that it needs for most areas of the body. And that's why this one will do that. I'm just going to even go back even to some of the other things. And then one of the most fascinating things that with LifeVantage, whenever they put a product together, I find that they put little tiny, like 5 herbs instead of just one strong herb, right? And that is so synergistically putting together. So the Nerve 2, the Nerve 1, the NAD, and then also this liquid collagen. When you're containing 10 different types of collagen, you don't push your collagen out of balance. That's the most important thing with healing processes within the body. That's why if people take large doses of turmeric root, it sometimes is pushing things out of balance, and then people will get diarrhea from it. Where ours, we have a small dose of turmeric, a small dose of milk thistle, a small dose of all those things, and micro doses exactly in these products is really why it allows it's just giving the body the tools that it needs, but yet it allows the body to make the decision. And that's what's so unique about our products, and so unique when you're looking at activators rather than supplements. Can you imagine if you're taking 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C a day consistently? What other vitamin or mineral does that push out of balance? And how does the body react to that? So that's why over supplementing can actually have some negative effects on the body, because it pushes our body out of balance. And our body is always looking for that homeostasis, looking for that balance. And that's why 10 different types of collagen. And then we have the ruby red quinoa in there that helps our bodies to make more of its own collagen. And again, it's a food. It's a whole food. So you're taking the whole ruby red quinoa. You're taking all of the marine collagen. It's not just an isolated component that's within there. And so when we can take small doses of these products, it just is so much more harmonious with our body than pushing our body out of balance with a high dose of something else.
Oh, you're so good. Oh, you're so good, Gloria. I can't stand still because I get so excited about all this. This is a study that you can find on our website, everyone, which is about our collagen and protandem, talking about how we turn on and help stop the cellular stress cycle of the cell. It's what Gloria was just talking about. Like, you want your cells happy, and this helps fibroblasts take care of and help your cells recover quicker from stress. So this is very important that you can have that. And this is just some visuals, some before and afters of how it's truly helping not only like the visual of the skin, but the skin density, the elasticity of the skin, the hydration of the skin. So important. So the next one that Gloria wanted to talk about, we've got two left here, and this is an important component as well, is the fat burn. This does not get talked about enough. But our fat burn contains a special product called Sinatrol. And Gloria, talk to us about the fat burn, why you love it, and the role that it plays.
So I think the most unique thing about the fat burn is that it really targets the visceral fat. And when we have fat stored around our liver, when we have fat stored around our pancreas, around our spleen, around our heart, really the term of metabolic syndrome, metabolic dysfunction, really one of the things is that you have to have a distended belly. So remember that when you look at fat, if you can grab it and you can jiggle it, okay, it doesn't really affect your health that much. It makes your clothes not fit very well, but it doesn't really affect your health that much. What does affect the health of the body is when we store visceral fat. That interferes the most with our metabolism. So can you imagine a liver with all the filters of the liver, and it's trying to filter your blood and clean your blood, and it's trying to, let things go into the colon and other things back into the bloodstream. And if 30% of those filters, like if you think of a strainer, right? If 30% of the holes in the strainer were filled with fat, how well would your strainer work? And that's actually what happens when people are diagnosed with fatty liver disease. I don't take it lightly. Some people take it lightly. I do not take it lightly. I've seen the effects of a fatty liver, and they go bad, and they go bad fast. And it's detrimental for the person's health and to their life. Okay. So you want to keep this. Men tend to have more visceral fat than women do, okay? And that's why also men tend to have more heart attacks than women do, because it's the visceral fat, okay? Fat around the internal organ, the glands of the body, which distends the stomach wall, okay? Now, people who can be very thin can still have visceral fat, okay? So don't be alarmed. Somebody who's thin, don't just assume that they don't have visceral fat. The unique thing with visceral fat is that it mostly comes, not all, but it mostly comes from cortisol. So people who have a lot of stress in their lives, or not under managed stress, or that perceived stress, whatever it might be, their cortisol levels will go down. And cortisol, not all of it, but cortisol will tend to store fat in the internal organs and glands of the body when people have high cortisol levels. It's a more difficult fat, and that's many times when people have weight issues or metabolic issues because of unmanaged stress. And then even if they diet, they can't lose weight, because it's not about the calories. And many times it's not even about the macros, the carbohydrate load. It's more about the cortisol. Keep saying, this woman's stressed, or this man is stressed. I need to protect their liver. I need to protect their colon. I need to protect their spleen or their pancreas. And it tends to store fat in those areas. Okay. But this fat burn is tremendous in regards to that visceral fat. And when you're looking at metabolic things, then the fat burn is a great priority. I have lots and lots of success stories when people do the Tri-Synergizer and the fat burn. It's amazing what it does to their health.
Wow, amazing. Thank you, Gloria. Okay, and then our next product we're going to highlight is our mind-body system. And this system came out in October, and this system truly could not have a better name. It literally, again, we are activating a hormone in the body, and that hormone is your GLP-1 hormone. Now, many of you, like myself, may think I thought GLP-1 was the shot. Little did I know that it is a hormone in the lower gut. Gloria knew that. And our company did a 12-week human clinical study. And again, we did that. That clinical study was significant in that we found, and this is not correct, it's been updated since, that we increased the GLP-1 hormone in your lower gut by 200%. This is the only natural-based product on the market that does that by 200%. And Gloria will tell you exactly what that means and what it communicates with, especially being an insulin-resistant coach. But on average, people lost 9 pounds in 8 weeks and up to 25 pounds in 12 weeks. 100% did not lose muscle. Up to 27, people lost up to 27% in visceral fat. We just heard how important that is. 82% took back control of their relationship with food. 95% had decreased sugar cravings. And again, we put the mind-body system with our Protandim product. We layered it together. How would they work in synergy? And this is what happened. We found that when you put it with Protandim Nerve 2, it's activating 22 new genes in your body to restore, rebuild, and renew internal organs. That is amazing. So I'm going to show you before and afters real quick, and then we're going to go to Gloria. The one on the right is Gloria, and this has gotten even better for her. And on the left is my husband, Kyle. And Kyle, literally, like, we've always just looked for a size 40 waist pant for him, and it's not always ever been easy. And I just thought, that's Kyle. That is how he's built. He's a big guy. Like, he's just never going to be smaller than that. He never thought that. He didn't go on the mind-body system to lose weight. He went on the mind-body system to get control of his blood sugars and his insulin. And he has done that. He literally said to me the other day, Gloria, he goes, I think I beat diabetes. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
So go ahead.
It is possible. It is possible.
Yeah.
According to Dr. Brickman, diabetes is 100% type 2 diabetes, 100% preventable and 100% like resolvable, curable. That's according to him. If you know how the metabolism of the body works and things like that, and it does take time. And so, first of all, within the digestive system, and I know the big feature for LifeVantage is that they'll really tote how it activates the GLP-1 within the body. But there are actually, when I was reading some of the study, there's actually some other hormones within the gut that it does activate as well. It's just that the most famous one, and the one that they really incorporated their testing into, was the GLP-1. And so we actually have over 200 hormones in the digestive tract. And hormones are communicators within the body. And most people just look at hormones as like testosterone and estrogen, but there's hormones everywhere in the body. And of course, they're communicators to say what's going on in the body, where are things out of balance. Cortisol is a hormone, insulin is a hormone. Those are all hormones within there. And so many times, and because of our foods that we kind of have right now, the preservatives that are in their food, the nut and seed oils, all the sugar-free kinds of things that are out and about, it tends to coat the duodenum, which is the lower part of the stomach. So we have our stomach, and then on the lower part of the stomach are the first part of the small intestine. But that's where all the communication happens. When we eat food and we grind it all up in our stomach, then as it passes over the duodenum, that's where it really tells the body tells the mind. That's why I love it that it's called the mind body. What is this food and what should I do with this food? When that communication network is blocked, the body really doesn't know what to do with the food that we just ate, right? When those little communicators are blocked, they're called L cells. When they're blocked, the body doesn't even know, like, how much food did I actually eat? And so many times we overeat, right? Or what type of food came in. Once you get that system working, and that's the key thing with the mind body system, is that it gets that duodenum working, that communication network working. And then all of a sudden your stomach can say, or your duodenum, the small intestine there, can say, you know what, I ate enough. I got enough to eat. We're good here. Do you know what I mean? The other thing that the GLP-1 does is trying to keep our blood sugar levels more in balance. And that is why it sends a little chemical messenger to say, yo, I just ate some sugar, missed the beta cells in the pancreas. Please release some insulin so I can neutralize those sugars within the body. Okay. Another thing that it does is it sends a communication message over to the liver, because our liver is constantly putting glucose into the bloodstream, constantly. And that is why people can fast. They can still function, right? People who are fasting and functioning. If anybody coached or anybody has son who are wrestlers, you can see it's amazing that these wrestlers have very, very limited food many times coming in, and they can perform at their best yet those 6 minutes on the mat. It's amazing that they can do that. Well, it's because of the glucose. So stored fat will convert into glucose and get into the bloodstream to keep the body functioning and alive when the communication happens properly. Okay. So if what's supposed to happen is, let's say you eat 500 calories, your GLP-1, the L cells, the food's supposed to go across there, and you just ate 500 calories. And what's supposed to happen is the GLP-1 is supposed to send a message over to the liver to say, this person just ate 500 calories. Diminish your glucose input into the bloodstream by 500 calories. That's what's supposed to happen. But can you imagine if that communication network isn't happening? You ate 500 calories and the liver puts another 500 calories into the bloodstream. And now it's almost like your body is saying, you just fed me 1,000 calories. Now, if you do that repeatedly, or let's say you eat 2,000 calories in a day, and that GLP-1 communication didn't happen over to the liver, well, now you've got 4,000 calories in a day. And then you wonder, why is my metabolism not working? Why are things not working? So the most important thing that this mind-body system does is that it corrects those communication pathways so that the stomach can tell the brain what's happening in the body. And actually, when the communication, we all hear about the gut-brain communication. There's 80% more messages are sent from the gut to the brain than from the brain to the gut. And so that's why some people can't always just convince themselves to eat less. I can't convince myself. I can't control it. I can't whatever. And that's because most of the communication is supposed to be happening from the gut to the brain. And when it's coated, again, with preservatives in our food, antibacterials in our food, because they're in our food as well, and nut and seed oils, and like I said, those artificial sugars, it's coated. And so how can our stomach tell our brain what's going on, and even where all that nutrition should go? So that's what I'm amazed by this. I'm amazed at how the mind-body system, even for people that aren't maybe losing weight, if that's the reason that they're going on it, emotionally, it is just bringing people so much more calmness because it's correcting the communication.
Gloria, I know a big thing on your heart too, like with your newest certification, is you talked about how you want to talk to people about what they're actually putting in their body. And I think a lot of people are misguided, or whether we're lying to ourselves or we think we're doing the right things when in fact we aren't. Can you talk more about that?
Well, the greatest thing I think that people can do is really to do, even for just 5 days, do some food journaling and really look and see, like, what are the kinds of things that you are putting in your body, because sometimes we think that we're eating differently than we actually are, and that's kind of like the basis of it. In regards to like our macros, so macros means your carbohydrates, your fats, and your proteins. Okay, those are the three macros. And so within the cells of the body, our fats really will help the body to heal and also help our body to make hormones. So that's kind of like a must. We need it. Okay, our proteins that we're taking in really break down into all the amino acids that our body needs. And amino acids are the building blocks of everything. Even when I used to do wound care, and it was like if somebody had an open wound, it was like, we got to bump up their protein, to trigger those healing processes within the body. The carbohydrate is what is a little bit different. And so, and we have to remember that carbohydrates are not just breads and pastas and noodles and rice. Carbohydrates are also all of your fruits and your vegetables. Many cheeses, we tote them as a protein, but they also have a carbohydrate load, and also do nut and seeds. So they also have a carbohydrate load. So the only pure protein, where you're only getting protein and not a carbohydrate load, are meat-based proteins. So those are the only ones, okay? And so when the only thing that we receive from carbohydrates is energy. And so that's why we have to be careful with them. And every single person has to find their own net carbohydrate load that their own body needs. And so that's bio-individuality. So just because somebody else can eat a certain way and do fine, that doesn't mean that you can eat that certain way and do fine. Okay. And so, so the carbohydrate, the interesting with that is that if you eat, let's say 100 grams of carbohydrates, but you only burn up 90 carbohydrates that day, your body stores the rest of those carbohydrates as fat. It'll just keep storing it as fat. Many times, if you take in more protein, maybe than the body needs, it will just build more muscle. So the carbohydrate and the net carbohydrate load is what we have to be very careful of. So net carbohydrates are the total carbohydrate minus the amount of fiber that's in there. So if we look at our Mind Body Enhance, it actually has 17 grams of carbohydrates in it, but it has 13 grams of fiber. So that means that you're left with 4 net carbohydrates for the day. Okay. And like I said, individually, we all need to find our net carbohydrate load. Now, some of us have to get very low if we have unbalanced emotions and unbalanced stressors, because remember that cortisol goes up, which triggers the liver to put more sugar in the blood. So even if you're not eating it, sometimes you're still getting that high carbohydrate load because of that. And so we just have to find kind of like that magic number in regards to that. But all metabolism, and I'm not just talking about weight loss, I'm talking about healing processes within the body. There's a lot of like disease and disease conditions that actually do extremely well when people wipe out, don't eat any carbohydrates. They focus on their fats and their proteins. And then you also have to look at your salts. You got to kind of keep your minerals balanced within the body as well. But one thought is, the reality is that we will never like outrun our fork. Okay. What we put in our bodies is so important. So some people say, I just got to exercise to lose weight. No, you exercise to get in shape. Exercise to get in shape. And then your muscles actually burn carbohydrates more. But don't exercise to lose weight. Exercise to get in shape, to balance your metabolism. Because like I said, we will never outrun our fork. You will never out-supplement your spoon. A bad diet will never, ever be corrected by taking more supplements. It won't do it, okay? Because the food is so powerful as far as what we're putting into our bodies, okay?
Oh, so good. Thank you so much, Gloria. So everything we talked about tonight,
You're unmuted, Tanya.
Goodness golly. Hi, everybody. I'm back. Okay. Those were the main, I want to say ingredients, but the main products that Gloria wanted to talk about tonight, just because they all play such a huge, crucial role in your metabolic health. And a good metabolic health means good quality aging. And I will put it in the notes here in a second, or if someone else could, but Dr. Ben Bikman is who Gloria studied under, and he is a great person to follow on Instagram. His handle is Ben, B-E-N, Bikman, B-I-K-M-A-N, P-H-D. Ben Bikman, Ph.D. I would highly recommend following him. Everything he talks about is just an awareness that many of us don't think about. So just to wrap this up real quickly, Get back to the person that invited you to this. We have two ways that we love to bring people into LifeVantage if the timing's right for them, and that is to be a customer or to join us on this mission to get people healthy and to become a consultant and be able to share this with others. You don't do this alone. You have a team that will support you. For customers, we have packages for you. You can buy products individually or you can put them together in stacks, which will give you a savings. And like I said, the special savings we have right now incorporates everything that we talked about tonight. It's called our high speed health stack. And we have this for customers and we have this for consultants as well. And either way, what you're getting when you buy this stack, as a customer, as a consultant, you're getting NAD for free. And as a new customer, you're also getting our hand cream, our mango hand cream, which is delectable. And then as a consultant, you're also getting our start kit as well for free. So $127 savings for new consultants, and then great savings for customers as well. I don't have that on here, but those are great ways for you to get started. I just want to thank you all so much for joining us tonight. And like I said, get back to the person that invited you and let them know where you're at. If you want more information, if this resonated with you, if you want more stories, just let them know. They're going to be following up with you. And our heart's desire is to help you live a very quality-filled, healthy life. It is never, ever too late to get started. Never too late to get started. Right, Gloria?
Exactly. Our bodies are always making new cells. So help them to make better new cells.
Better new cells. All right. Well, everyone have a great night. Thank you so much for being here. Good night.